cooking good looking. I am Mila Clark Buckley, the Hangry Woman, and today on my channel we are making almond butter. I'm so excited for this almond butter recipe because it's super easy. All that it requires is almonds, literally almonds, no oil, no nothing. It's just almonds and your Vitamix or your high-powered blender. This typically works best in a high-powered blender so you don't burn out the motor because it's easy to do that. And my particular Vitamix series has a nut butter setting. So I thought, what a perfect way to be able to try this out and to use the actual setting that's used to make nut butters. Almond butter in your Vitamix is super easy. It just, like I said, requires almonds. You don't need anything else. You can roast the almonds ahead of time. I'm not going to. I'm just going to take some straight raw almonds, measure them out, and put them into my Vitamix. So let's get to it. Let's do this really easily. Starting off by removing my lid of my Vitamix, and I have this measuring cup. It measures 2 cups at a time. So we're gonna do this twice. You wanna use at least 4 cups of nuts for this, and the reason is because you want to be able to have enough pressure to be able to tamp down whenever you are trying to get the nuts underneath the blade to get them to grind and to blend into actual almond butter. So we'll set this aside because we don't need it. We've got all of the almonds that we need, and then we're gonna pour the rest of our almonds into the Vitamix. Now, you wanna be sure to have 2 tools to be able to do this with your Vitamix. You want your tamper. So your tamper is going to help you kind of like push down those nuts to get them underneath the blade so that everything blends nicely. You'll see me doing that in just a second. And then I also have this really nice scraper. So when we get ready to pour it into our container over here, I have a little sealed glass container that seals it airtight. You'll be able to pull it out, scoop it out super easily, get underneath the blades, which is really nice as well. So we're going to put the top on. Make sure it's on securely and tight. After you put the lid on, you're gonna take out the stopper or like the topper in the lid, and you're gonna go ahead and insert your tamper. You want your tamper to already be in there and ready for you. And then we're gonna set some of this aside so that I can actually see, because you know, that's a good part to be able to see what you're doing. And then we are going to, our Vitamix is already powered. We're gonna go to the nut butter setting, and then for 1 minute, we're gonna grind and start. Ready? Okay, so I don't think that's supposed to happen in your $700 Vitamix. Let's unplug and see what went wrong and try it again. Holy crap. Okay, what does the error say? Error 2.2. Turning the machine off for 45 minutes to let it reset. Oh my God. That's not how you make almond butter. Okay, so on the first go, it shorted out and stopped my Vitamix. I got an error 2.2 code on the machine, which means that it had a thermal cutout, which means it got too hot for the Vitamix to be able to mix the nut butters, and then it actually shorted out. So I have to wait 45 minutes for it to reset the motor. I unplugged it, turned it off, and then we will come back and try this again. I'm actually really surprised that this happened because a Vitamix is like super powerful and they should be able to handle something like crushing nut butters, and people do it all the time. And I used the nut butter setting. You guys saw that I clicked it and I put it on there. So we're going to stop for now, come back in 45 minutes, I guess, and try again. Not using the spread setting because clearly it does not work for almond butter, but I'm going to do this manually. So we are going to tamp it in, and I'm going to start it slow and then increase the speed. Hopefully this works better. Okay, we're stopping about midway because it's hot, but it's still not quite almond butter. So we need to do some blending to get it to be more buttery than what this is. So we're gonna keep going. All right, so it finally looks like the right color and the right consistency. We're gonna scrape off our tamper here, and then we're gonna see what's up. And this is gonna be really hot, so be very careful when you take the lid off because it's been steaming up in there. And if you take a look, we do definitely have some creamy almond butter in there. I still think it needs to go for longer because I don't think the oils have fully released. So I'm putting it back on like a crazy person, and we're gonna keep going until it actually turns into almond butter. Oh. Let's stop you. Okay, I think we've got this pretty far, and it looks like it's in a pretty good place. Just gonna put that bare peanut butter, almond butter on there. So again, removing the lid, careful because it's very hot. And it does look like we got some pretty good consistency in our almond butter. I actually, looking at this, I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm using it for baking, so that's why I also didn't roast the almonds. I didn't see a need because the blender gets so hot that it practically roasts them anyway, and it takes, you know, such a time that you basically, like, you just spend a lot of extra time roasting that you don't need to. So I choose not to roast them ahead because I think that the machine gets hot enough to do it for you. But it is resulting in some good creamy almond butter. I like it. It's smooth. And it's like really nutty. The smell is really nutty. So that's nice. That does mean that it got pretty roasted. And as you can see, like on kind of the bottom edges, it definitely got creamier. So it maybe needed some more time. But I think that this is fine for a spread, especially. You can get it to a creamier consistency. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. And I see a lot of videos that are like, make almond butter in your Vitamix in 1 minute. And this took me way more than 1 minute to do. Took me way more than 1 minute. So I probably could have used less nuts also. I used 4 cups of nuts, but you need enough nuts to be able to tamp down, because if you can't tamp it, then it's not gonna turn into the almond butter that you want. So let me just get the last of this out of here. Just gonna scoop it out. As you can tell, it made a lot of almond butter, so this is good. And it did, I mean, it is like pretty creamy, actually, once it gets mixed up in there. I would also caution you to just be really careful at this step because the almond butter coming out of the Vitamix is really hot. So like if you were wanting to use this on a sandwich or something, you're definitely gonna have to chill it before you actually do anything with it. Because warm almond butter is like, it's not it. So we're just gonna get the last of this little bit out of there. And don't worry if you can't get it all. I'm gonna show you a little hack and what you can do with what's left over in here. It's not impossible to get it all out, but it is really helpful to have this. I got this from Vitamix. It's just like a little scraper. It gets underneath the blades, which is really nice. There was a lot underneath the blades and I got it, you know, not totally clean, but pretty clean. And it also just helps to scrape down the sides of the container so that you don't leave a ton behind. But I'm gonna leave some behind and I'm gonna show you what I do with this. So let me clean this up and then I'll show you my almond butter masterpiece. It's hot, but here is my almond butter. You can see it's pretty creamy. It flows pretty nicely in there. It's still very warm, so I'm gonna let it come down to like room temperature, and then I'm gonna cover it so that the steam doesn't build up into my airtight container. I will mix it up a little bit. That is also something you need to do. You always need to stir it before you use it because it's gonna settle, and you need to mix it back up to get kind of like that fiber mixture back in there along with the creaminess. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now you're probably thinking, how do I clean this out? You can use soap and the cleaning mechanism on the Vitamix. It has a self-cleaning function. So you pour soap, pour water in as soon as you're done making it. Don't wait because it'll stick in there. It'll get really hard to clean. And then you just use that function, or you can make a smoothie to kind of get the leftover almond butter that's in there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a strawberry banana smoothie. So dumping in a ½ pound of strawberries, leaves and all. You can have the leaves, you can eat the leaves as long as they're washed, and they are washed. Grabbing a trusty banana, and I'm gonna throw that in there as well. And then let me go grab some almond milk to be able to put in there. I have my unsweetened vanilla almond milk here. I'm just gonna pour that in. And Vitamix has these handy measures on the side, so I love that because then I know exactly how much I'm making. I'm actually just gonna use the whole rest of this box because it's easy. You can also make your own almond milk if you'd like. I'm fancy, but I'm not that fancy. Well, I am that fancy. I'm having a video on that pretty soon because I have a machine that helps you make almond milk. And then I'm just gonna make sure that I get kind of these like little edges here. Be sure that you put the topper back on. You do not want to blend without it. That would be a nightmare and a huge mess. Probably something you guys would have fun seeing on my channel. And then let me make sure I don't get my hair in this almond butter. And then put it on the smoothie setting and start it. I went and got some cups while it was blending so that I could pour this out so Brian and I can both have a really good smoothie. And what's nice is that this is nice and cold because of the almond milk, so it was like super hot. And then there is a strawberry banana almond butter smoothie. That's like a little bonus recipe for you. Ooh, fits perfectly. Oh, dang. I got the little drip. Look at that. That's wonderful. And then I can just put soap and water in here. Actually, let me show you. I'll put soap and water in and do the clean function. Right, so let me move my smoothies out of the way and I will grab my container again. So I already filled this with some cold water. And then you just pour some dish soap in. It gets it mostly clean. And it does a lot of the like rinsing and scrubbing part for you, which is nice. And then you just have to rinse it out with water once you're done. And then your Vitamix is clean and perfect and beautiful. So like I said, it doesn't do the heaviest lifting, but it does get it at least to a place where it's easy to scrub and rinse out. So I'm gonna go rinse this out and then I'll be back to talk about everything we made today. So as you guys can see, it's pretty easy to make your own almond butter at home. It takes a little bit of elbow grease, so it's not as easy as people may make it seem, but it's possible, and it's possible to do it with just almonds and still make a nice and creamy almond butter. Additionally, you can also use that excess almond butter that's in the container after you make it to make some pretty good smoothies. I really like that part of it too because I always get a little snack out of it afterward. Okay, that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed learning how to make your own almond butter in your Vitamix. There's tons of things that you can do in your Vitamix. Even though it went a little sideways for me in the beginning, we got on track, we got it it's fine. We tested it out. It worked great. So I'm excited to be able to use this almond butter in a cookie recipe later. You might have seen it before, my almond butter cookie recipe. It's really delicious and it doesn't have any flour or any white sugar in it, which is so amazing, and the cookies just taste great. So I'm making a really good s'mores version of them. I really appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you had fun watching this video with me. I always really appreciate getting new friends and learning cooking tips from other people who are also learning how to cook and learning how to cook really well to manage diabetes. So if you like my channel, please do leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.